riding and dreaming. The Empress Elizabeth spent her middle years mainly away from Vienna, to the everlasting pain of His all-highest majesty, by God's grace, Emperor of Austria and King of Jerusalem and Hungary, Franz Joseph. The Empress had always been a champion of Hungarian independence, and it became my job as imperial minister to prevent such nationalistic enthusiasms from breaking up the empire. The Crown Prince has been one of my main problems. He was a child when Austria and Hungary became a dual monarchy, united only by the crown. But that compromise has never been enough for Rudolf. He professes liberal views, chiefly, I think, to oppose his father. And, like his mother, he has caused the Emperor a great deal of private distress. On the morning of Wednesday, the 30th January, 1889, he'd spent the night, or so I was informed, at his hunting lodge at Mayerling.
Highness! Your Highness! Your Royal Highness! Highness! Fetch Kantois. Your Highness!
Losek! Rudolf! Is there a coal fire burning in there?
Sir?
Any fumes?
Oh, no, sir. Only wood.
Rudolf! Rudolf, it's Josel! Well, isn't there another door?
He's left his key in the lock, sir. Both doors.
Rudolf! Oh, Rudy, what are you messing about for, you old devil? Coburg should be here soon. When did you last see him?
6:30, sir. He came into my room fully dressed. He told me to order his breakfast and his carriage and call him at 7:30.
What time is it now?
Nearly 8, sir.
Well, how was he? Was he well?
In good spirits, sir. He went back in there whistling.
Whistling?
Like a gypsy, sir.
He wasn't in pain, then?
I don't think so, sir.
Oh, well, there's nothing to worry about. He's got his morphia in there, hasn't he?
Yes, sir. He's well supplied.
Yeah, well, let him sleep it off.
There's just one thing, sir.
Hmm?
He's not alone.
What? Oh, brought Mitzi with him, did he?
Not Fräulein Mitzi, sir. It's the Baroness Vetsera.
The Vetsera woman
No,
here?
not the mother, sir. The young Baroness. Baroness Mary.
The little girl?
Yes, sir.
Better a revolver than poison. A revolver is more certain. When did you find this?
It wasn't there yesterday.
Written in ink? Well, this isn't Rudolph's handwriting.
It's the young lady's, sir.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
What's going on? Is everybody ready for the shoot?
Get an axe. Break it down.
Sir.
What the flip?
Look at this. In schoolgirl handwriting.
Mary Vetsera.
How do you know?
Her mother's made a fuss. She's searching Vienna. She's been to the police president, even the premier.
Oh, my God. Do they suspect Rudolph?
My dear fellow, the spies are out. I'm not even sure that I wasn't followed.
Was he missed last night at the family dinner?
The Emperor frowned. The Crown Princess looked Persecuted as usual?
Oh, poor Stephanie.
I told them that he had a cold.
If we need help, there'll be witnesses.
Well, he's talked about it often enough. How long has she been here, Loshik?
2 days, sir.
Hidden away?
Yes, sir.
Lock the door first. There's a good fellow. Quite right, Loshik. Not a pretty spectacle. He's dead. Sir. Leave us, Bradfish. Joseph, now pull yourself together. One of us has to inform His Majesty. Let's the other make sure that nobody enters that room. I'll guard the bodies. You go to Vienna. Yes, Joshua, look at me. We've got to keep our wits about us. This is not just a tragedy, it's a scandal. You dined with him last night. I made his excuses to the Emperor. We'll be asked to account for him.
What can I say? He was charming. Charming. We talked about hunting, about the incredible instinct of pointers. He showed me some telegrams from Budapest.
From Karoli?
Nothing significant.
From the leader of the radicals of the Crown Prince. Heavens, man, already their newspapers are beginning to boast of Rudolf's support.
I swear he was more interested in the foie gras. We had a splendid meal. He sent Loschek to compliment the cook.
Did he drink?
Not more than usual.
And not a mention of the girl.
We never got round to women. He retired early to nurse his cold.
With morphia, no doubt.
His Highness is indisposed. Tell the others.
And I'm to tell that to the Emperor?
We have to protect the All-Highest for all our sakes.
Want to be an inquiry?
We're on Crown territory, completely outside the law. Bradfish! I want you to take Count Hoyas to Baden Station and put him on the first train for Vienna. You have to stop an express, then do it. It is by royal command.
Your Highness.
When you get to the station, telegraph Widerhoffer. Tell him the Crown Prince needs him urgently.
Yes.
Nothing more. Bradfish, I'm not sure how much you know, but not a word to anyone.
Stop that train!
It's an express, Your Excellency. I had my orders.
Those are the Emperor's orders. Blackfish, wait here for Professor Widerhoffer. Take him at once to the Crown Prince's bedside.
This is most written, Your Excellency.
Telegraph your head office, man. Your head office. Baron Rothschild will understand. Telegraph Baron Rothschild.
Is the Crown Prince ill? My God.
The Empress is having her Greek lesson. Your Majesty, Baronopshka to see you with news of the utmost urgency.
Later, Ferency. I am listening to Homer.
Your Majesty, I beg you. He brings terrible news of the Crown Prince.
So it's true? He was not alone.
No, Your Majesty.
That girl was with him.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Is she dead too?
Yes, Your Majesty.
One of your whores, Bombelle, one of your little sluts. Does the Emperor know?
Your Majesty, we thought... Baronopshka thought that only you...
The great Jehovah is terrible when he goes forth like a destroying storm.
Your Majesty. His Imperial Highness. We feel sure His Imperial Highness did not seek his own death.
Seek?
It was the girl, Your Majesty, of that we can be certain. She poisoned him, Your Majesty, and then took poison herself.
She killed my son.
There was a glass by the bedside. The All-Highest's personal physician, Professor Widerhoffer, is on his way to Mayerling now. He will confirm, I feel
That
sure.
little whore has poisoned my son. My God, how you abuse us, all of you!
Your Majesty!
Don't touch me. I'm right with the All-Highest, and he needs me. He needs me. Not one of you would go to his aid. Flatterers, fawners. Someone will pay for this.
The stock market's falling, Your Majesty. 37 points this morning. Why? The Rothschilds are selling out.
For what reason?
We've telegraphed every capital. There are no wars, no revolutions, no major disasters. And yet the Rothschilds are selling in Austria and buying in Hungary.
But why, Taffer? The army bill was passed last night through the Budapest Parliament.
Only on the first reading, Your Majesty. The opposition threatened to fight it clause by clause. They refused to accept the German language requirement for army officers.
The German language is the language of command.
That indeed is the issue, Your Majesty. They would prefer an independent Hungarian army.
They have a Hungarian king.
Who is also, with respect, an Austrian emperor.
A Habsburg emperor.
Your Majesty.
The dual monarchy was their solution, not ours. Must we always compromise, Taffer?
Occasionally, Your Majesty. For the sake of appearances.
Well, what next?
Only rumors, Your Majesty.
Rumors.
They may be painful, Your Majesty.
Well, they usually are.
They concern your son.
Rudolf?
Karoli wants to make him King of Hungary.
But I am King of Hungary.
Instead of you, Your Majesty.
Is my son aware of this?
Karoli made a highly inflammatory speech in his parliament last week. I think he has Prince Rudolf's full support.
Hungary snatched from us by our son.
Worse. If the prince accepts the Hungarian crown, then I fear, in the passage of time, he may make concessions to Russia, so that in exchange, Hungary might expand into the Balkans, backed by Kaiser Wilhelm's military might.
This is treasonable conspiracy.
The only way I can explain the stock market.
Bus station, 24-hour service, special train, confirmation sought.
Professor Widerhoffer.
Imperial Police Institute, Vienna. No trace of missing girl at Mayerling. Crown Prince ill with cold. Bayer.
Inform the Prime Minister. Results negative.
This is impossible, Baroness.
I beg of you, Fräulein.
Another time.
But Count Taffer assured me I've been to the police president.
Baroness Vetsera.
Only Her Majesty can help me find my child.
Papal nuncio's returned from Rome, Your Majesty, with greetings from His Holiness.
This afternoon, Taffa. I'll receive him this afternoon.
How are you this morning, Franz?
Well, as usual, my dear, bothered by everything. My Prime Minister keeps me at it. Oh, don't worry, Taffa. I rely on your judgments.
Franz.
What is it, Cece?
Rudolf is dead. What? Our son is dead.
Dead? He can't be dead. This is one of your silly tricks, isn't it, Cece?
Say it, Hoyos.
Your All Highest and Most Supreme Majesty, I have to report to you, in all grief, that His Royal Highness Prince Rudolf has departed this life.
Is the cause of death known, Your Majesty?
Poison. Count Hoyos, when the Emperor can bear it, tell him all you know.
Your Majesty.
Taffa, we shall need your assistance.
My deepest condolences, Your Majesty.
We must act quickly, Taffa.
Agreed, with all respect to your Imperial House.
The time for tears can come later. There are 2 bodies at Mayerling.
2?
They are there together, Taffa. Like lovers.
Your Majesty.
She poisoned my son and then killed herself.
Who?
Mary Vetsera.
Ah.
You knew of them.
It is my vocation to protect the royal house.
Heart failure. My son died of heart failure. That is what we will tell our people.
How wise you are, Your Majesty.
Randy. Yes?
He used the mirror.
He what?
Watched the act. 11mm ball. Devastating. Shattered the top of the skull and the anterior part of his brain. Have a look along the top of the bed, Loshik. You might find the bullet somewhere. Herr Widerhoffer, Your Highness, would it have been difficult for the girl to have fired the revolver? Difficult? No. Unlikely. Was there much brandy consumed, Loshik?
Enough, sir.
Yes. Ghastly business. Ghastly. Our first thought was poison. Poison? The girl was capable of administering poison, surely. He's blown his brains out, man. Professor Widerhoffer, I was thinking of the church. The blessings of the Holy Church. Your Highness, the girl was killed first. At least 4 or 5 hours before the prince. He spent the rest of the night sitting here beside a corpse, drinking to screw his courage up. Good God.
The Prime Minister to see you, Baron.
Here? You received my report, Your Excellency. We can find no trace of the girl.
Too late, my dear Fritz. We have a tragedy.
A tragedy?
His Imperial Highness, the Crown Prince, is dead.
No.
Unfortunately, there are complications.
We have just received news of a hunting accident at Mayerling, Your Excellency. Has His Imperial Highness...
Poison.
Poison?
The medical details can be verified later. Meanwhile, the police must arrange certain circumstances.
Your Excellency?
The girl's been found. Tucked up, it seems, with His Imperial Highness.
Mary Vetsera?
But the prince is dead.
Yes, they're both dead.
At Mayerling.
Has the mother been informed?
I decided to notify her brother-in-law, Count Stockau. He is reliable, I believe.
The soul of discretion, Your Excellency, but...
Well, gentlemen, we shall have a busy afternoon.
Baroness Vetsera is still here, Your Majesty.
Has she been told?
Not yet, Your Majesty.
Fetch Hoyos.
Your Majesty.
And bring me a looking glass, Fräulein. You must receive her dry-eyed. If we show any emotion, they exploit it, they take advantage.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Count Hoyos, you will say nothing until you are asked to speak.
Your Majesty.
Your Supreme Majesty, the Baroness Helena Vetsera.
Your Majesty.
We hear you have been seeking audience with us for the past 2 days. We crave your indulgence, but affairs of state have given us no time.
Your Divine Majesty, far be it from me to lay burdens upon you, but my importunities are only occasioned by the tender concern of a mother's heart.
Why are you here?
My daughter, Mary, a sweet child of only 17 years.
What of her?
She's disappeared. For the past 2 nights, she has not slept in her bed. Put yourself in my place, Your Majesty. Think of the purity of a 17-year-old girl born into the nobility.
But why come to us?
Your Majesty, I believe that she is at Mayerling with your son.
Well?
Well, they are lovers, Your Majesty.
And you wish me to end their affair?
Oh, well, no, not in the least. It's just
Just what?
Oh, think of her reputation, Your Majesty, her prospects.
So, now we come to it. Your concern is not for your daughter's purity, but for her prospects. You are afraid she has been compromised and will never worm her way into the highest reaches of our court.
Your Majesty!
We remember you, Baroness. 10 years ago, you seduced our son. You think us unaware, but our Prime Minister is well informed of your scandalous activities. You seduced my Rudolf. And then when you found he was sickening of your entertainments, you were suddenly afraid for your position in society. And so you coached your own child for his bed.
Your Majesty!
Rudolf wrote to His Holiness the Pope a fortnight ago, asking permission to divorce Stephanie, his wife, so as to marry your little trained harlot.
I beg you!
Tell her what has happened, Hoyos. Tell her.
Your Majesty.
Tell her we command it.
Count Hoyos, what is it?
At 8 o'clock this morning, at Mayerling, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and your daughter
Tell her!
Were found dead.
Dead?
Poisoned.
My child. My lovely child, what has she done?
She poisoned my son and then killed herself.
What?
And we know why. His Holiness wrote at once to my husband. The Emperor forbade the divorce. Even though the Princess Stephanie can have no more children, even though she cannot produce for us a male heir, the Emperor would not have her put aside.
I beg you.
So Rudolf took your daughter to Mayerling to break the terrible news that she would not reign as Empress after all. But you had filled her up with such dreams of glory. She could not bear the disappointment, and in a fit of pique, she poisoned my son. And then there was nothing left for her to do but kill herself.
Oh, Your
However,
Majesty!
it is our wish that you and your daughter be wiped from our memory. My son died of heart failure.
Your Majesty!
One does not leave majesty with one's back turned. It is the command of the All-Highest that you speak of this to no one.
I prostrate myself at your feet, Your Divine Majesty. I prostrate myself. I prostrate myself. I prostrate myself.
Leszek, would it be fair to say that His Imperial Highness showed signs of pathological nervous excitement of late?
Yes, sir. He complained of headaches, sir.
Quite. His bladder condition was much pain?
Only the usual, sir.
Yes. He was taking heavy doses of morphia.
Oh, yes, sir.
Quite. Indeed, from the Church's point of view, one might possibly concede that the balance of his mind was temporarily...
He was thrown from his horse last autumn, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Loshik. I'd forgotten.
Count Bombell has arrived with the coffin, Professor.
Will there be a lying in state?
Naturally. We'll have to search the room, Loshek, for the deceased papers.
We shall need a good sculptor.
Sculptor?
Someone who can model in wax. There's a great deal of patching up to be done.
Who is in charge here?
This is crime territory. May I ask on whose authority?
Baron Gorup, Commissar of Police. We have instructions to restrain all unauthorized persons from entering the lodge. Your name?
Philip, Prince of Coburg.
Your Highness, forgive me. We travelled down on a train with several known correspondents of Vienna newspapers. I have taken the liberty of placing a guard round the hunting lodge. Are you aware there are already sightseers inside the grounds?
Count Bombell, the Crown Prince's Lord Chamberlain, has taken charge. Perhaps you would better...
Your Excellency.
Loshek.
Chief Commissar Gorup, Imperial Police. We have come to remove the female corpse.
They'll tell the lodge warden that strangers are to be kept out of the courtyard.
Your Highness.
Imperial Police Agent Bayer, sir. The news reached me in Baden that the Crown Prince has been murdered. I've brought with me Dr. Siebenrock of the Baden District Court.
Fire! There is no occasion for intervention by the criminal court.
Sir.
You will instruct Dr. Siebenrock that all further inquiries are hereby suspended.
Sir.
Your Highness. Count Stockau is in the courtyard.
Count Stockau?
He's come to collect the body of his niece.
Good God. She was a lovely lady, sir. Lovely. And very fond of me, sir. She gave me a present at the end. Then they sent me away. I never heard the shot, sir. Not the first one. But I heard the second one, sir.
Your Highness, I have come here on behalf of my sister-in-law, Baroness Vetsera. She has been commanded by the Prime Minister to leave Vienna at once, as her dead daughter has allegedly poisoned the heir to the throne. But this man is a witness. We have been criminally misinformed.
Count Stockau.
I demand the body of my murdered niece.
I know I speak for all the royal family when I say how deeply we sympathize with the Baroness in her tragic bereavement.
With apologies, my dear Count, I must ask you to leave.
I have come for the body of my niece!
Impossible. I am commanded by the All-Highest to exclude members of the Vetsera family from the Mayerling estate. If you will return to Vienna, no doubt you will be advised how to proceed in due course. Highness.
Not me. I am his wife. I should have been the first to be informed.
My dear girl.
He killed himself. I knew he would.
Stephanie, that's enough. Terence,
with
the
a
child.
hole. A suicide pact with a hole.
That's enough.
I tried to tell you. I tried to tell Papa. He talked about it. He talked about taking his life.
That's a lie.
How would you know?
He was my son.
You were never here. You never knew him. He knew. He saw it. He was glad.
Your Royal Highness.
You were his enemy. Look at you.
My dear Princess, this is a solemn moment for us all.
You hated him. Him and his liberal friends. And he despised you. You were afraid of him because the people loved him.
Yes, they loved him. And the people of Hungary loved him. His memory is sacred.
I knew it last night. At the family dinner when he sent his apologies. He was ill! I tried to tell you, and you all looked at me as if it was my fault.
You were his wife. When a husband strays, it is for his wife to win him back.
Strays! He was never at home. He never wanted me, not as a wife. I was the only Catholic princess that he could find, and nothing less would do for the Habsburg.
Stephanie.
Oh, curse you. Curse the Habsburgs for what you've done to me. I carry his disease in my belly, and you blame me for being sterile.
I don't believe you.
Your Majesty, allow me.
Don't touch me. You. kept him out of power, wasting his gifts, his talents, with whores and drunkards. Oh, yes, yes, yes. He was safer like that. Shooting animals!
Stephanie, he's dead.
And he didn't even fear God. He didn't fear God.
Your Majesty.
Leave us, Tom.
She was overwrought.
Leave us.
Dear Loshek, fetch a priest to pray for us and have us buried in a common grave. My dear Mary's valuables and letters, please hand over to Mary's mother. I thank you for your invariably loyal and devoted services throughout these many years. See that the letter to my wife reaches her by the shortest route. Rudolf. Thank you, Loshek.
Sir? I've sent Bradfish to the Abbey, sir, to fetch the prior.
It's getting dark. Buyer?
Better burn the rug and the bedspread.
Your Highness.
Sit. Sit, my dear Tarver. There is much to do. To work, to work.
Your great love flows to the people, Your Majesty, as theirs to you. The news is already on the streets.
Died peacefully this morning of an apoplectic stroke. Thought we had agreed upon heart failure.
The Crown Prince had no history of heart trouble, Your Majesty. The police are ready to take over the premises of all other newspapers should they deviate from our official statements.
There are rumors, then?
Many. I have ordered that all telegrams from foreign embassies be decoded and then censored or suppressed.
Oh, quite right.
Our subjects must be protected. I have taken the initiative of informing by telegram all significant royal houses related to Your Majesty of Your Majesty's bereavement.
And His Holiness?
I have refrained from telegraphing His Holiness directly until we have received Professor Widerhoffer's report. There is still the question of the girl.
Ah.
Abbot Grunewald has arrived to say a Requiem Mass.
Hurry.
Ex fuit domui.
I'm sure I thank you in the all-highest name, Father, for this personal visit of comfort.
Mother Church receives all those in need. May we see the departed?
Yes, of course.
Professor Widerhoffer, Your Majesty.
My most profound condolences, Your Majesty.
Thank you, Widerhoffer. Tell me, I want to know everything.
Professor Widerhoffer has been working all night, Your Majesty, preparing the body for the lying in state. Would you care to pay your respects?
Not now, Tarper, not now. My son was a general in the army, and I must visit him as such. Tell me, Professor, did my son die in agony?
I can assure Your Majesty, he did not suffer for one moment. The bullet passed straight through the brain.
Bullet? What bullet?
The bullet with which he shot himself, Your Majesty.
Shot himself? Rudolf shot himself? What lies are you telling me? He was poisoned. Tarfer! Oh.
He calls her touchingly pure angel, fancy. He killed her and sat there writing this letter with her dead body beside him on the bed.
Your Majesty. Your Majesty, the Emperor asks if he might read your letter.
Was there none for him?
It seems not, Your Majesty.
Take it, Tarver. And may it comfort him.
Dear Stephanie, you are rid of my presence and plague. Be happy in your own way. I'm going calmly to my death, which alone can save my good name. Embracing you most warmly, your loving Rudolf.
He asked me to die with him a year ago. She'd only known him a few months. Poor girl. She must have loved him.
Dear mother, forgive me. I could not resist love. Bury me by his side. I am happier in death than in life. Your Mary. P.S. Bratfish whistled wonderfully.
Apparently, the cabbie was invited into a last midnight entertainment.
Shall we deliver it?
Why not? Better pension Bratfish off.
They're asking for the body, the mother and uncle.
Out of the question. We have it in all highest orders. The Baroness Mary is alive and kicking.
They demand a church burial. I can't vouch for their silence if they don't get one.
Corrupt. You have all the necessary authority. Arrange something.
Most embarrassing circumstance, Father, don't you agree? One of the gamekeepers found the body this morning while inspecting the estate. Naturally, we would not like people to relate or confuse her death with the deeper tragedy of His Royal Highness.
How did she die?
How?
There may have been foul play.
I am a police officer, Father. You have my solemn assurances on that score.
In this matter, my master is God. So I must ask you again. Is there no death certificate?
You will have one in due course, specifying that the lady died by her own hand.
Then I cannot and must not bury her in consecrated ground, as I hope my soul might be saved.
Please tell me, are you a loyal servant of our Emperor?
Indeed I am. In all things temporal, our beloved Emperor is next to the divine. But in things spiritual, I answer to His Holiness.
I have a letter here. Read it. You will recognize that it comes from the very highest authority.
Murder?
You will note that you are commanded forever to keep silent about what you read.
I am a priest. Deliver the coffin. I will perform the rites.
We shall deliver the girl's body. It will be for the monastery to supply the coffin.
Mad? He was not mad.
Your Majesty, that statement is what His Holiness will require in order to consent to a church burial.
He says he was not worthy to be my son.
His mind was troubled, Your Majesty.
Ah, yes. And the girl?
I have matters in hand, Your Majesty.
Dead? Shot by my son?
The world must be disabused of such a calumny. I'm sending her uncles, Count Stockau and Herr Baltazzi, to take her away as soon as it is dark. Except, of course, there is no question of a hearse.
Sit her up! Come! She's doing Oh, it's no good. Loschek! Find an axe!
No! That's my niece!
May I remind you, Herr Baltazzi, that you're under direct orders from our Emperor. Your niece is to leave Mayerling sitting opposite you in the coach.
Haven't you done enough? You won't even allow my sister, the poor child's mother, to attend the burial!
Alexander, allow me to deal with this. Baron Gorov.
Yes, Count Stocker.
My brother and I cannot allow any further desecration of the corpse. I think we are now both prepared to walk to the entrance gates and proclaim the truth. Of course, on our way, we shall receive bullets in the back from your imperial police. But that will leave you with a further problem. The newspaper men have seen us arrive. They're waiting to see us leave.
Your suggestions, my dear Count.
The desecration of the body will cease. There is no need to break her back. I think Alexander and I have the courage to hold her up between us.
You understand that what you suggest will go in my report to the Royal Highest?
But naturally.
Then the responsibility is yours. Please perform it.
Time is running short. I conclude the Emperor will not abdicate. He is heading for decline. Eternal waiting with continuous conflicts unbearable. Aspirations with regard to Hungary, magnifique but dangerous. No understanding anywhere for crushing matrimonial relations. Young Baroness chooses the same way because of hopelessness of her love for me. Expiation. Rudolf.
We found it in a desk drawer, Your Majesty, with the will.
Oh, yes, the will. Did you know, Coburg, that he left all his money to a woman of the town? Mitzi Kaspar, her name is. Seems he asked her to die with him last summer, but she refused. She went to the police, but they didn't take it seriously. He spent his last night in Vienna with Mitzi Kaspar. Did this poor girl know, do you think?
Your Majesty, we have released the truth to the newspapers.
The truth?
Suicide, while the balance of his mind was disturbed.
And the girl?
Your Majesty, we shall never refer to the presence of the lady.
The murdered lady?
A suicide pact between two people deeply in love.
Will that be the next official version?
Your Majesty?
When Rudolf was 17, he wrote an essay about the Danube. As a life artery, carrying the culture of Vienna to the backward races of the Balkans. The mission of Austria, he said, is to look eastward.
I have a feeling, Your Majesty, that he shared such thoughts with the Hungarians and that they exploited him.
You exploited him? Whatever my son may have done, all of you, for your rapacious purposes, using my boy, are to blame.
Your Majesty is
7
understanding
years
this.
of age. And his tutor, General Gondrecourt, fired pistols at the side of his head to make him brave. Good army discipline, he said. He took my little boy out hunting and said, "Shoot anything in sight, Your Highness. It's all yours to kill." Oh.
Your Majesty, the All-Highest will attend the lying in state tomorrow morning. Will you accompany him?
No, Topham, no.
Your Majesty.
That corpse is not my son. His head is made of wax.
Deus, cuius miseratione anime fidelium requiescunt, unctumulum benedicere dignare, eiqui et...
From my point of view, the girl's funeral went off quite well. Full security was maintained, and the police reported little noticeable curiosity from outsiders. But the monks, I suspect, had taken no strict vow of silence. At any rate, within a few days, foreign newspapers were buzzing with gossip. There were even reports of assassination, which would hardly have been necessary, as the Crown Prince had destroyed his own character and the liberal cause with it. Officially, of course, we never admitted anything. And I took the truth with me into retirement. Life was easier, I must confess, without the Crown Prince. As for the Empress, she didn't go to the funeral. Though late one night in the crypt, she is said to have called Rudolf's name in the hope that his ghost, perhaps, would answer her. She lived on for 10 years, a solitary figure in black, wandering aimlessly from place to place. In September of 1898, she visited Geneva, and boarding a steamer on a lake, was stabbed to death by a young Italian anarchist who had no more real motive than she. The Emperor received the news while he was preparing for the Jubilee to celebrate the first 50 years of his reign.
Nothing has been spared me in this world.